Introduction. Every creation, from the most distant galaxy to the most imposing oak tree, began as a silent thought, an intention, a seed planted in the vast field of potentiality. Your life, as you experience it now, your health, your prosperity, your relationships, is no exception. It is the harvest of seeds that have been planted, consciously or unconsciously, in the fertile ground of your mind. Within you live two forces, the gardener and the garden. The gardener is your conscious mind. It's the one who chooses, the one who thinks, the one who reasons, and often the one who doubts. It observes the external world and decides which seeds seem most suitable. But the garden is your subconscious mind. It is a servant of absolute loyalty, a land of infinite fertility, and, above all, obedient. The garden does not judge the seed. It doesn't care if you plant a flower or a weed. Its sole and sacred function is to take the seed the gardener gives it and use all the silent power of life to make it grow. The great secret is this. Most of us have lived as unconscious gardeners, allowing seeds of fear, doubt, and limitation, carried by the winds of the world, to fall into our garden. And then, we look at our lives, at the harvest, and wonder why it is full of weeds. This is a journey to awaken the gardener within you, so that you become aware of the immense power that resides in your ability to choose which thoughts you are going to nurture. You will learn that your subconscious mind is not a strange force you must conquer, but your most faithful ally. You will discover that you don't have to fight reality. You just have to offer it a better blueprint. The soil of your mind is ready. The harvest of your future depends on the seed you choose to plant now. Chapter 1. The Civil War of the Mind. The origin of self-sabotage. You have felt this paradox, this strange and frustrating contradiction that lives at the heart of the human experience. With all the strength and clarity of your conscious mind, you set a goal. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to eat healthy. This month, I'm going to save 20% of my salary. The decision is clear. The intention is pure. The captain has given the order. And yet when the moment of truth arrives, an invisible force, an inner saboteur, seems to take control of the helm. The hand that in the morning rejected sugar, at night finds itself, almost without realizing it, at the bottom of a box of cookies. The money you swore to save vanishes in an impulsive purchase. The great project remains in the drawer, a victim of a sudden and insurmountable laziness. You find yourself betraying yourself again and again, and the conclusion you reach is often painful and self-critical. I have no willpower. I lack discipline. There is something broken in me. But what if I told you that your willpower is in perfect condition? What if I told you that your discipline is not the problem? What if the problem was not a weakness on your part, but the fact that you are in the midst of a civil war and you didn't even know it? Welcome to the Civil War of the Mind. It is the conflict that defines the human struggle, the battle between what we say we want and what our deep programming believes we deserve. To understand why self-sabotage occurs, we must recognize that our mind is not a unified kingdom. It is a territory governed by two armies, two forces with radically different natures, weapons, and strategies. The first army is your conscious mind. It is the elite force, the Special Operations Command. Its general is willpower. Its weapons are logic, reason, and planning. It is a small but brilliant army. It operates in the light of day. It is capable of feats of concentration and effort in short bursts. But its great weakness is that it gets tired. Its energy is finite. It is depleted with every decision, with every act of resistance. The second army is your subconscious mind. If the conscious mind is an elite command, the subconscious is a vast, ancient, and countless army. Its field marshal is habit and belief. Its weapons are emotion, imagination, and automatic patterns. This army never sleeps. It operates from the shadows. It doesn't understand logic. It only understands programming. Its only directive is to execute the battle plan that was ingrained in it years ago with absolute loyalty and relentless efficiency. And here lies the source of the Civil War. Self-sabotage occurs when the small conscious general willpower decides to launch a frontal assault on the deeply programmed orders of the immense automatic habit army. When you consciously decide, I'm going to be rich, but your subconscious army's fundamental programming is, money is bad and scarce. The battle is inevitable. Your small willpower command can fight bravely for a while, but eventually it will get tired. And when it gets tired, the vast army of habit, which never fatigues, will simply resume its march, leading you back to the familiar territory of scarcity. It's not that your mind is disobedient. In fact, it is perfectly obedient. The problem is that it is obeying an older, deeper command than the one you, the conscious general, are issuing now. You are not fighting an enemy. You are fighting an older version of yourself. The war is not won with more effort. The war is not won by fighting harder. It is won by understanding the rules of engagement and changing the strategy. The first rule is that in a direct conflict, emotion always beats logic. Willpower is a cold force. The subconscious habit is driven by the hot, powerful energy of emotion, the fear of scarcity, the comfort of procrastination. In this battle, the subconscious will always have the energetic advantage. The second rule is that habit is 1,000 times stronger than an isolated decision. A decision is a single event. A habit is a trench, a neural pathway dug into your brain by thousands of repetitions. A soldier, your new decision, trying to assault a fortified trench, your old habit, has very little chance of success. So, how do you win this war? You win by doing something radical, by stopping the fight. Victory does not come through confrontation, but through renegotiation. It's about declaring an armistice, walking into the enemy camp, understanding its general, and giving it a new, better battle plan. Practice the inner armistice. These exercises are not about defeating your subconscious. They are about starting to understand it and collaborate with it. Exercise 1. The battlefield map. The first step in any strategy is to know the terrain. Take your journal. Choose an area of your life where you feel your biggest civil war is being fought right now. It could be your health, your finances, your productivity. Draw a line down the center of the page. In the left column, write the conscious general's orders. Note the intentions and goals you are consciously setting in that area. I want to exercise 4 times a week. I want to stop procrastinating on this project. In the right column, write the subconscious army's real actions. Write down, without judgment, what actually happens. I end up going to the gym once. I spend 2 hours on social media instead of working on the project. Now the most important step. Below each real action on the right, try to identify the belief or feeling that drives it. What subconscious belief is giving the order to stay on the couch? Maybe the belief that exercise is a punishment or I'm too tired. What feeling drives procrastination? Maybe the fear of failure or the fear of not making it perfect. This map will show you with brutal clarity that the problem is not your lack of willpower, but the conflict between 2 opposing orders. Ejercicio 2. The interview with the enemy general. Your self-sabotaging behavior is not a malicious enemy. It is, often, an outdated protector. It's an old general who is still using a map from a past war to try to protect you in the present. We are going to dialogue with it. Choose one of your self-sabotaging behaviors from the list above. Now, in your journal, write an interview with it. Personify it. Give it a name if you like. Ask it kind and curious questions. Ask it, "Dear procrastination, I understand you are here. What are you trying to protect me from? What's the worst-case scenario you imagine if I start working on this project right now? What do you think would happen if the project wasn't perfect?" Write down the answers that emerge. You will be surprised by the protective, albeit distorted logic that hides behind your most irrational behaviors. Procrastination might answer, "I'm protecting you from judgment. If you don't start the project, it can never be criticized. If you don't finish, it can never be imperfect." This exercise transforms the saboteur from an enemy into a misunderstood ally. It is the first step toward being able to give it a new job, one that is aligned with your current goals. Self-sabotage is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of an internal conflict, a misalignment between a conscious desire and a subconscious programming. The war is not won by fighting harder against yourself. It is won by declaring an armistice, understanding the reasons of both sides, and finally unifying your 2 armies under a new, single banner. Chapter 2. The Origin of False Decrees. How Your Script Was Written. When we are born, and during our first 7 years of life, our mind operates radically differently than it does in adulthood. Our brain functions predominantly in theta brainwaves. This is a state of deep receptivity, similar to hypnosis. During this period, our conscious and critical mind, the gatekeeper, has not yet fully developed its ability to reason. A child doesn't analyze the world. They absorb it. Every word they hear, every emotion they feel, every behavior they observe is recorded directly onto the hard drive of their subconscious mind, not as an opinion, but as a fundamental truth about how reality works. You are a psychic sponge in a state of super learning, and your first programmers are the people you trust most, your family. Primary programming, the family, your parents or caregivers with the best of intentions, became the first architects of your subconscious plan. They transmitted their own instruction manual for life to you through two main channels. The first was verbal programming. The phrases you heard repeatedly became decrees, orders that your obedient mind accepted without question. Consider these seeds. If you constantly heard phrases like, "Be careful, you'll fall," or "The world is a dangerous place," your subconscious installed the program that life is a threat and that safety lies in inaction. If you heard, "Money doesn't grow on trees," a program of scarcity was installed. If your sadness was met with "Good boys don't cry," you were programmed to repress certain emotions. The labels placed on you, even affectionate ones, became your identity. Your subconscious took these labels as a description of your fundamental self. But the second form of programming, the nonverbal, was infinitely more powerful. Modeling. It's not about what your parents told you to do. It's about what you saw them do. A child learns more from the emotional atmosphere of their home than from any sermon. Did you observe your parents face problems with calm or with anxiety? That became your default programming for adversity. Did you see a relationship based on respect or on conflict? That became your template for love. What was the energy of your home around money? Was it one of gratitude or constant worry? That became the frequency of your prosperity magnet. You absorbed not just their words, but their state of being. You learned their relationship with reality. It's crucial to understand that this programming, even if it was limiting, was almost never malicious. Your parents taught you the rules they themselves had learned, the survival strategies that had worked for them. They gave you the map they had, sincerely believing it was the best one to protect you. Secondary programming, the system. Once we leave home, the programming continues. The system takes over to reinforce and add new layers to the script. The educational system teaches us to value the correct answer over the creative question, to fear mistakes, symbolized by the teacher's red pen, and to seek validation from external sources rather than from our own internal satisfaction. Then, the cultural matrix, media, advertising, social networks finishes the job. It bombards us with thousands of daily suggestions about how we should be, what we should have, and how we should feel to be accepted and happy. It programs us to feel perpetually dissatisfied so that we continue consuming. From the fusion of all these voices, those of our parents, teachers, and culture, is born the most influential character in our inner life, the main screenwriter of our dialogue, the inner critic. The inner critic is the internalization of all those authority voices from our past. Its original function was, in fact, protective. It was an adaptation mechanism. The voice that told you "Don't do that" or "Mom will get angry" was trying to help you avoid pain and rejection, ensuring your survival within the tribe. The tragedy is that this guardian never gets the memo that you've grown up. It continues to operate with its outdated childhood software. It still treats you like a scared 5-year-old trying to protect you from failure. But in doing so, it sabotages your growth, limits your risks, and keeps you trapped in a cage of safety. The voice that once protected you has become your jailer. When you hear that inner dialogue that tells you you're not good enough, you're not hearing the truth. You're hearing an echo of a parent, a teacher, a past wound, and liberation begins with the act of realizing that you don't have to believe in echoes. Practice the archaeology of your script. These exercises are designed to help you identify the origin of your programming. This is not about blame, it's about understanding. Understanding is the first step to liberation. Exercise 1, the echo of voices. This is a tracking exercise. Take your journal. List the 3 to 5 most recurring negative beliefs you have about yourself or about life. I'm not worthy of love. Success is for others. I can't trust people. Now for each of those beliefs, close your eyes. Repeat the phrase to yourself slowly, and ask yourself this question. Whose voice is this originally? Is it my father's voice? My mother's? A teacher's? A childhood friend's? Don't look for a logical answer. Pay attention to the first image, the first memory, or the first sensation that arises. Often, you will be able to identify the source of the program. Next to each belief, write the name or source you have identified. This simple act creates a separation. You realize that belief isn't yours. It's a program that was installed in you. Exercise 2. The unwritten rules of your tribe. Every family is a tribe with a set of invisible rules for survival and acceptance. Your subconscious continues to obey these rules. Think about your family of origin. What were the unwritten rules about these areas? Emotions. What emotions were allowed in your house? Joy, perhaps? And which were forbidden or uncomfortable? Anger, sadness, fear? Success. How was success defined? Was it having a lot of money, having a secure job, being famous, being a good person? Was success celebrated or viewed with suspicion? Conflict. How were disagreements handled? Were problems talked about openly or swept under the rug? Write down at least 3 of these unwritten rules from your clan. You will realize that many of your current struggles come from a conflict between these old rules and your adult desires. Exercise 3, the ceremony of return. This is a powerful symbolic ritual of liberation. Choose the most painful limiting belief you have identified. Write a letter that you will never send. Address it to the source of that belief, your parents, society, your younger self. Step A, expression. Express everything you need to. Your pain, your anger, your frustration, how that belief has limited you. Don't hold back. Step B, understanding. Try to write a paragraph from a place of understanding. I understand that you passed this belief on to me because it was your way of protecting me, based on your own experiences and fears. Step C, release. End the letter with an act of sovereignty. Write. With love and respect, I return this belief to you. It no longer serves me and no longer belongs to me. From today, I consciously choose to write my own rules and decrees. I reclaim my power as the sole programmer of my mind. After writing it, read the letter aloud, and then safely burn it or tear it into very small pieces. As you do, feel yourself being released from the weight of that old code. Your subconscious script is not your fault, but rewriting it is your responsibility. You cannot change the past. You cannot change how the first lines of your program were written. But you have, in this very instant, the absolute power to start writing a new act, one based on your own sovereign choice. Chapter 3. Imagination versus willpower. The law of conflict. Armed with the sword of willpower, we try to rip out the weeds by force. We tell ourselves with martial discipline, I will no longer think about scarcity. I have to stop worrying. I'm going to force myself to be confident. We enter a pitched battle against our own mental patterns, believing that with enough effort and struggle we can subdue them, and almost always we fail miserably. The more we fight a thought, the stronger it becomes. The more we force ourselves to feel something, the more elusive that emotion becomes. We end up exhausted, frustrated, and convinced we lack the willpower to change. But the problem isn't a lack of will. The problem is we're using the wrong tool. We're trying to speak to the engine room in a language it doesn't understand, and one that even causes the opposite effect. The French psychologist Émile Coué formulated a fundamental law of the mind that explains this perfectly. It is the law of reversed effort. The law states, when the will and the imagination are in conflict, the imagination always wins, without exception. Let's consider a simple example. Imagine a wooden plank 10 meters long and 1 meter wide placed on the floor. Could you walk on it from one end to the other without falling? Of course, with complete ease. It requires almost no effort from your will. Now imagine that same plank placed between the rooftops of 200-story buildings. Could you walk on it now? Your will, Your conscious desire to cross is the same. But now your imagination has entered the equation. You start to imagine the fall, the emptiness, the terrible end. The harder you try to force yourself to walk, the more vivid the images of falling become. Your imagination of failure paralyzes your will for success. The conflict has begun, and imagination will always win. This principle operates in every aspect of our lives. When you try to force yourself to sleep, your imagination fills with images of you tossing and turning, and the result is insomnia. When you try to force yourself to remember a forgotten name, your mind goes blank. It is only when you surrender and stop trying that the name suddenly appears. The struggle, the forced effort, the tension. These are the language of the conscious captain. But the subconscious does not respond to force. It responds to a much more subtle, ancient, and powerful language. The native language of the subconscious. If we want to communicate effectively with the engine room, we must stop shouting orders in the captain's language and start whispering in the crew's native tongue. This language is composed of three main elements. The first is images and symbols. The subconscious mind thinks in pictures. It is pre-verbal. If I say, "Don't think about your house," it's too late. The image of your house has already appeared. The image is instantaneous and holistic. The subconscious doesn't process negatives well. When you say, "I don't want to be sick," the image your subconscious receives is sickness. This is why visualization is so powerful. The second element is feeling and emotion. Feeling is the water that makes the seed of thought germinate. The subconscious is the emotional mind. You can have a mental image of a bank account with $1 million, but if you feel anxiety, the message your subconscious receives is not $1 million, but anxiety and lack. Emotion is the signature that validates the order. An image with no emotional charge has little power. But an image, even a blurry one, if it's charged with the feeling of joy, peace, or gratitude, is a top priority command. The third element is stories and metaphors. The subconscious loves narratives. A simple story can bypass the critical filter of the conscious mind and plant a powerful idea directly. This is why parables and myths have been the most powerful teaching tools for millennia. When you listen to a story, your conscious mind relaxes, but your subconscious absorbs the message. Telling yourself a new story about your life is one of the most effective ways to rewrite your internal script. Images, feelings, and stories. This is the language we must learn to speak, and the faculty that allows us to use this language is imagination. We often consider imagination a form of childish escapism. Nothing could be further from the truth. Imagination, when used in a disciplined way, is not an escape from reality. It is the workshop where the reality of the future is forged. Every bridge, every symphony, every business first existed as an image in someone's imagination. Imagination is the master key because it resolves the conflict between will and belief. When you try to force a result with will, you are fighting your current programming. But when you use imagination, you simply create a new blueprint. The conscious mind registers it as just imagining and offers no resistance. But the subconscious mind, which doesn't distinguish between a real and an imagined experience, accepts that blueprint as a new command. It begins to work immediately to turn that image into your physical reality. The most powerful use of imagination is to evoke the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Don't imagine the process of achieving your goal. Imagine the final scene. Imagine that your desire is a fait accompli. Don't imagine getting the job. Imagine celebrating after your first successful month. Don't imagine earning the money. Imagine enjoying the security and freedom that money has already given you. The goal is to generate the feeling of naturalness. When you can feel the emotion of your wish fulfilled as a natural present state, you have convinced your subconscious. You have planted the seed and watered it with the feeling of certainty. From there, the growth is automatic. Practice training your disciplined imagination. Exercise 1, the relaxation experiment. This simple exercise will give you a direct physical experience of the law of reversed effort. Step A, effort. Sit comfortably and try to force yourself to relax. Clench your fists, tense your shoulders, and mentally order yourself, "I have to relax now." Observe what happens. You'll get even more tense. Your will and your state are in conflict. Step B, imagination. Now, release all tension. Instead of ordering yourself, simply start to imagine. Imagine floating in a warm pool on a sunny day. Feel the water on your skin. Don't try to relax. Just immerse yourself in the imaginary scene and the feeling of relaxation. Observe how, without any effort, your muscles begin to loosen. You have used the correct language. Exercise 2, the mental rehearsal. Choose a small upcoming event that generates a bit of anxiety. Instead of worrying, you are going to perform a positive mental rehearsal. Close your eyes for 2 minutes. Imagine the scene not as it might happen, but as you would like it to happen. Don't focus on the exact words. Focus on the feeling. Imagine yourself feeling completely calm and confident. Visualize the other person as receptive. Feel the satisfaction at the end of the meeting. Repeat this mental movie several times in the days before the event. You are not trying to control the future. You are programming your inner state so you enter the situation from a place of confidence, which increases the chances of a positive outcome. Stop struggling. Start imagining. Your imagination is the master key that opens the door without effort. It is your direct communication channel with the creative power of your subconscious mind, the giant that patiently awaits your blueprints to begin building. Chapter 4, The Art of Scientific Prayer, Autosuggestion. The most direct and powerful tool for this task is what Joseph Murphy called scientific prayer. And we must be very clear with this term. It is not a prayer in the traditional religious sense. It is not a plea to an external deity. It is scientific in the sense that it follows a law, a precise method. It is the art of autosuggestion elevated to its maximum potential. Autosuggestion is the act of consciously choosing the ideas, the seeds that you want to plant in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. It is the process of becoming your own and most influential programmer. The principle is simple, but its power is infinite. Every suggestion, repeated with enough frequency and charged with enough emotion, is eventually accepted by the subconscious and becomes a belief. And once it becomes a belief, the subconscious, that faithful servant, will do everything in its power to manifest it in your reality. Autosuggestion is not superficial positive thinking. It is a surgical technique for rewriting your internal script. For an autosuggestion or affirmation to be truly effective, it must follow a series of principles. Ignoring these principles is why affirmations fail for so many people. The first principle, simplicity and clarity. Your subconscious mind is like a child. It doesn't respond well to complexity, long sentences, or abstract concepts. It needs a clear, brief, and direct command. An affirmation like, "I am in the process of developing a multifaceted strategy to improve my financial situation," is useless. It's too long, too intellectual. Your subconscious tunes out. Instead, an affirmation like, "Money flows to me easily and constantly," is infinitely more powerful. It is simple, direct, and a clear image. The second principle, the present tense. This is perhaps the most common mistake. We often formulate our desires in the future tense. I will be rich. I will get that job. I will be healthy. By doing this, we are giving a very precise command to the subconscious to keep that desire in the future. And the subconscious, obediently, ensures that wealth, the job, or health are always just over the horizon, but never here and now. The subconscious only operates in the eternal present. To impress it, you must formulate your affirmation as if your desire were already a fait accompli. Not "I will be," but "I am." Not "I will have," but "I have." By affirming your desire in the present tense, you create the sensation that it is already a reality on the mental plane, which is the only plane your subconscious understands. The third principle, the emotional charge. As we have seen, a thought without emotion is a seed without water. You can repeat a phrase 1,000 times, but if you do it mechanically, it will have very little effect. The key for an affirmation to penetrate the subconscious is to feel the emotion of the affirmation as if it were already true. Before you start repeating your affirmation, take a moment to evoke the feeling. If your affirmation is, "I am a success," close your eyes for an instant and ask yourself, how would I feel if this were absolutely true right now? Perhaps you would feel calm, confidence, gratitude, joy. Connect with that emotion. Let it flood your body. And then from that emotional state, start repeating your affirmation. Now, the words are not just words, they are vehicles loaded with the energy that your subconscious needs to start building. The fourth principle, persistence. Planting a seed once and expecting a harvest is absurd. Subconscious reprogramming is not a one-time act. It is a process. It requires constant and persistent repetition to overcome decades of old programming. Imagine your old limiting beliefs as deep grooves in a dirt road. A single pass by a new car will not create a new route. You need to drive on the new path again and again, day after day, until the new groove is deeper and easier to follow than the old one. Repetition creates the habit, and the habit becomes the belief. With these four principles in mind, simplicity, present tense, emotional charge, and persistence, we can build incredibly powerful affirmations for any area of our lives. Practice. Building your master affirmations. This exercise will guide you to create your own personalized auto-suggestions. Step 1. Identify the goal. Choose an area of your life you want to transform. Be specific. Don't choose, "I want to be happy." Choose something more concrete. For example, I want to be more confident in my professional skills. Step 2. Transform the desire into a fact. Take your goal and rewrite it as a short, clear, present tense affirmation. If the goal is, "I want to be more confident," the affirmation becomes, "I am secure and confident in my work." If the goal is, "I need more money," the affirmation becomes, "Money comes to me in abundance and without effort." If the goal is, "I hope to find an harmonious relationship," the affirmation becomes, "I am in a wonderful relationship based on love and mutual respect." Step 3. Add the emotional charge. Now add a phrase that describes the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This personalizes the affirmation and makes it much more potent. I am secure and confident in my work, and I feel a deep calm and competence in everything I do. Money comes to me in abundance and without effort, and I feel immense gratitude and freedom. I am in a wonderful relationship based on love and mutual respect, and I feel completely happy and fulfilled. Step 4. The imprinting ritual. Now that you have your master affirmation, you need a ritual to plant it consistently. The best way to do this is through what Joseph Murphy called the lullaby technique. Choose a moment. The best time is at night just before you fall asleep, in that drowsy state where the conscious mind is about to turn off. Prepare. Lie down comfortably, relax your body. Repeat like a lullaby. Start repeating your affirmation over and over, softly or mentally. Do it passively, gently. The key is to reach a state of passive acceptance where you are no longer trying to believe. You are simply absorbing the idea. Fall asleep with the feeling. The goal is for the last conscious idea you have before sleeping to be your affirmation, and above all, the feeling that accompanies it. This way, your subconscious mind will work on that idea all night long. Perform this ritual every night with persistence. Remember that you are reversing years of programming. Be patient and trust the process. Overcoming common obstacles. While you practice, you may encounter resistance from your conscious mind. This is silly, it will tell you. You're lying to yourself. This is normal. It's the old captain trying to maintain control. When this happens, don't fight that voice. Simply acknowledge it kindly and return to your practice. With each repetition of your affirmation, you are weakening the authority of the old captain and strengthening your direct connection to the engine room. Another obstacle is impatience. We want immediate results. But growth in nature has its own rhythm. You don't unearth the seed each day to see if it's growing. You plant it, you water it, and you trust that the law of growth will do its job. In the same way, once you have planted your affirmation in the subconscious, let go of the need to see immediate results. Continue with your practice with a quiet faith, knowing that you have set an infallible law in motion. Autosuggestion is the act of consciously choosing the seeds you want to see flourish in your life. It is reclaiming your power as the gardener of your own reality. It is the deliberate dialogue with the giant you carry within. Chapter 5. Healing the Book of Your Life. The Power to Rewrite the Past. The problem is that many pages of this book were written when you were too young to understand them. They were written with the ink of hurt, fear, resentment, or failure. And each of these pages became a decree, a subconscious command that your mind continues to execute today, often against your conscious wishes. A page of past betrayal becomes the silent order. Don't trust anyone. A page of humiliating failure becomes the decree. Don't take risks. You're not good enough. A page of painful loss becomes the law. Don't love too much, because pain is inevitable. Trying to build a future of trust, success, and love, while these old orders are still active in your system, is like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation filled with dynamite. Sooner or later, the old programming will explode and sabotage your new structure. Most of us believe the past is unchangeable, a story written in stone that we are doomed to drag along. But the most liberating truth that psychology and spiritual wisdom offer us is this: you cannot change the facts of the past, but you have the absolute power to change their meaning. And by changing their meaning, you change their power over you. Healing the book of your life is not about erasing the pages. It's about becoming a wise editor. It's about taking those old stories of pain and adding a new chapter, a new conclusion, one that serves and empowers you. It's about giving your obedient mind a new interpretation of the story, a new command about how it should feel and react to those old memories. This is the art of subconscious healing, and it is practiced through 3 fundamental acts of rewriting: forgiveness, reinterpreting failure, and releasing guilt. Forgiveness, in the sense we explore it here, is not a moral act to absolve the other person. It doesn't mean you condone what they did. It doesn't mean you have to have them back in your life. Forgiveness is an act of sacred selfishness. It is the act of cutting the chains that bind you to your own pain. It is a command you give yourself to finally be free. By forgiving, you tell your obedient mind, this old story of pain is no longer my focus. I cancel the order to continue suffering from this. From today, I choose peace. The second healing, reinterpreting failure as wisdom. Failure is, along with resentment, another great source of negative programming. A significant failure in the past can install a deep program of fear and inadequacy that sabotages all our future attempts. The memory of failure becomes a command to not try. Healing this wound doesn't involve forgetting the failure. It involves rewriting its meaning. It's about stopping seeing it as a judgment on your worth and starting to see it as an invaluable lesson. It's the act of extracting gold from lead. The company that went bankrupt was not a failure. It was your intensive business master's degree. The relationship that ended was not a failure. It was the training that taught you what you truly value in a partner. By reinterpreting failure, you give your subconscious a new story, a new command. The command is no longer, I failed, therefore I am a failure. The new command is, I learned, therefore I am wiser and stronger. The third healing, releasing guilt. Guilt is resentment directed at oneself. It is the act of punishing yourself over and over for a past mistake. It is a subconscious command of self-punishment that can manifest as a mysterious inability to enjoy life, to accept success, or to feel worthy of happiness. The release from guilt does not come from denial, but from compassion and acceptance. It comes from understanding a fundamental truth. In every moment of the past, you did the best you could with the level of consciousness, knowledge, and emotional resources you had available at the time. If you had known how to do better, you would have done so. Forgiving yourself is giving your obedient mind the command that the sentence is over. It is declaring yourself free and worthy to start over, not from innocence, but from hard-won wisdom. Practice the soul editor. These exercises are your editing tools. They are the rituals that will allow you to heal your book of life. Exercise 1. The forgiveness ceremony. Choose a person or a situation from the past toward which you still feel resentment. Step A. Visualization. Sit in a quiet place. Close your eyes. Imagine that person sitting in a chair across from you. Step B. Silent expression. Speak to them mentally. Say everything you never said. Express your pain, your anger, your disappointment. Don't hold back. Empty the emotional burden. Step C. Release. Now visualize a golden light descending and enveloping you both, and repeat these words, feeling them in your heart. I see you. I recognize your humanity and mine. I release all resentment. I release you, and in releasing you, I release myself. I wish you peace. And now I choose my own peace. Step D, the cut. Visualize a cord of energy connecting you. And with an act of imagination, cut that cord. Feel yourself being released from the weight of the past. Perform this ceremony as many times as necessary, until when you think of that person, you no longer feel the emotional burden, but a neutral peace. Exercise 2, the rewriting of failure. Choose a failure from the past that still weighs on you. Step A, the old story. In your journal, write the story of the failure as you have always told it, focusing on the pain, humiliation, and shame. Step B, the search for gold. Now on a new page, you are going to become a wisdom detective. Answer these questions about that same experience. What was the most valuable lesson I learned from this? What strength, resilience, humility, courage did this experience forge in me? How did this failure help redirect my life toward a better or more authentic path? Step C, the new narrative. Based on your answers, write a new title for that page of your life. Instead of The Year My Business Failed, the new title could be The Year I Earned My Master's Degree in Business Resilience. By doing this, you are not denying the facts, you are changing the meaning you give them. You are giving your obedient mind a new story, a story of power. Exercise 3, the self-forgiveness trial. Imagine a courtroom in your mind. You are in the defendant's box for a past mistake for which you feel guilty. Now, imagine that you are also the judge, a judge who is infinitely wise and compassionate. Chapter 6, the Night Mind, your solution lab. Imagine you want a private audience with the king of a vast empire to present a project that will change the kingdom. During the day, the king is in his throne room, surrounded by advisors and courtiers. This is your conscious king, your waking mind. If you try to approach, your message will be debated and rejected by skeptical counselors, doubt, logic, fear, before it ever reaches the monarch's ears. But at night, the king retires to his private chambers. The court is silent. There is a brief magical moment just before the king falls into a deep sleep, when his mind is tranquil, receptive, and alone. If you could whisper your message in his ear then, it would enter his consciousness directly without filters. This is the perfect metaphor for your mind. Twice every 24 hours, the gatekeeper, your conscious mind, lowers its guard. These are the golden moments for reprogramming, the direct portals to the throne room of your subconscious. These are the drowsy states, the period of reverie just before you fall asleep, and a similar period just after you wake up, before your conscious mind is fully active. Dr. Joseph Murphy, like many other mind masters, insisted these are the most powerful moments to sow the seeds of your desires. Why? Because in this state, known as alpha or theta brainwaves, your conscious mind's critical activity is at a minimum. The door to the subconscious opens wide, and your mind is extraordinarily suggestible. An idea planted then is like a seed in freshly tilled soil. Ignoring the power of these moments is one of the biggest mistakes we make. We often do the opposite. Our last thought before sleep is usually a worry. We mentally review the day's problems. We fall asleep in a bath of negative emotions, giving our subconscious a blueprint for more problems and anxiety to work on all night. Then we wonder why we wake up feeling tired and apprehensive. Similarly, the first thing many do upon waking is grab their phone. We flood our highly suggestible mind with world news and social media. We allow the chaos of the external world to dictate the day's first command to our subconscious, instead of consciously setting our reality's tone. Taking control of these two daily portals is an act of sovereignty over your own mind. It's like ensuring you have a private audience with the king every night and morning. The nightly programming techniques. Technique 1. The subconscious lullaby for affirmation. This is your main tool for programming with words. Reduce your desire to a short, powerful phrase and repeat it like a lullaby until you fall asleep. The key here is passivity. Choose your lullaby. Condense your fulfilled wish into a brief phrase. Thank you for my wealth, or I am healthy and at peace. The phrase should feel good and resonate with you. The process. Once in that drowsy state, repeat your lullaby softly. Do it gently, with feeling, not effort. Your goal is for this to be your last conscious thought before sleep. You're delivering your command, then you can rest, knowing your crew will work all night to make it reality. Technique 2, the nightly cinema for visualization. If your mind responds better to images, this is your technique. It's the act of projecting your mental movie at the moment of maximum receptivity. Load your film. Be clear on your happy ending scene, a brief 10-second film of your desire already fulfilled. The process. In the drowsy state, project your film. Don't just watch it, feel it. Immerse yourself in it with all your senses. Feel the central emotion of your fulfilled desire: gratitude, relief, joy. Repeat the scene until it feels real and familiar. The goal is to fall asleep inside the scene, feeling that emotion as your present reality. Technique 3, the nightly counsel for problem solving. Sometimes we need an answer to a complex problem. The subconscious is a source of immense creative intelligence. The process. In your drowsy state, present your problem simply as if to a wise counselor. Infinite intelligence of my subconscious, you know the perfect solution. I hand this problem over to you now. I trust you to reveal the answer. The act of faith. After making the request, let it go. Release the need to solve it consciously. Go to sleep with quiet confidence that a higher intelligence is working on it. The answer will often come unexpectedly, as a clear idea upon waking in a dream or through a synchronicity. Practice your conscious sleep ritual. Exercise 1, the sleep sanctuary. Your bedroom isn't a second office. Create an environment that signals to your brain it's time to relax. The hour before rule. Disconnect from screens an hour before bed. Blue light suppresses melatonin. Instead, read, listen to music, or talk to a loved one. Total darkness. Ensure your room is as dark as possible. Darkness is the most powerful signal for your brain to initiate sleep. Exercise 2. Choose your nightly technique. Don't try all three at once. Choose one that aligns with your current main goal. For a new general belief, wealth confidence, use the subconscious lullaby. For a specific visual desire, a new house, use the nightly cinema. For a problem needing clarity, use the nightly counsel. Commit to that one technique every night for at least a month. Exercise 3. The Dawn Journal. Place a notebook by your bed. The golden rule. Upon waking, before you move or touch your phone, stay still. The reception. Pay attention to any ideas or feelings present in your mind. This is often your subconscious's response. The capture. Immediately write down anything that arises. The ideas in this state are often the most valuable. Don't rely on your memory. Your day ends, but your mind never rests. Sleep is not a pause in creation. It's when the deepest work is done. By taking conscious control of the portals of sleep and waking, you stop being a part-time programmer. You become a 24-hour architect of reality, sculpting your destiny even while you sleep. Chapter 7, Building the Habit of Happiness, the Order of Joy. We have been programmed with a false universal decree that happiness is a destination, a prize granted to us if and when we meet certain external conditions. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy when I find the perfect partner. This belief turns happiness into a carrot on a stick, always in front of us, always just out of reach. It condemns us to a life of perpetual searching, to being victims of circumstances, waiting for the external world to organize itself perfectly to finally give us permission to feel good. The truth, from the perspective of the obedient mind, is radically opposite. Happiness is not a destination. It is a habit. It is not a reward. It is a command. Joseph Murphy taught that happiness is our natural condition, and unhappiness is simply the result of having installed a faulty mental program. For many of us, our mind's default program is worry and complaint. Our subconscious has become an expert at unhappiness because it's what we've practiced most. As a faithful servant, it presents us with a reality that perfectly matches that inner state. The path to a happy life is not about changing the external world. It's about uninstalling the habit of unhappiness and deliberately installing the habit of joy. This isn't about forcing a smile when you feel bad. It's about conscious training to teach your subconscious mind to choose happiness as its new default state. Neuroscience supports this idea. Each time you choose a thought of gratitude over a complaint, you are literally rewiring your brain. You are weakening old stress pathways and strengthening new pathways of serotonin and dopamine. You are building, thought by thought, the neurological hardware of happiness. The obedient mind awaits your orders. If your habitual order is life is difficult and stressful, it will execute it perfectly. But if you start giving it the new order of I choose happiness and peace with conviction, it will execute that with the same fidelity. The commands of happiness. Building the habit of happiness is an active process. It requires using specific commands or techniques to interrupt old patterns and establish new ones. Command 1, the morning decree. The first hour of the day is the most important. The mental state you begin with often sets the emotional tone for the next 16 hours. An unconscious gardener wakes up and allows the first seeds of the day to be worries or negative news. The conscious gardener, however, uses that moment of receptivity to deliberately plant the seed of happiness. The technique is simple but profound. Upon waking, before your conscious mind is fully active, give a command. Place a hand on your heart and say, aloud or mentally, with serene conviction, I choose happiness today. I give my subconscious mind the order to interpret all events today in a way that brings me peace and joy. My mind is a magnet for the good, the beautiful, and the harmonious. And so it is. This is not just a pretty phrase, it is a decree. It's the captain giving the day's first navigation order. Command 2. The conscious mental diet. It's impossible to cultivate the habit of happiness if you constantly feed your mind mental junk food. Happiness needs a clean environment to flourish. A conscious mental diet is the act of becoming a strict guardian of the information and energy you allow into your awareness. This involves a fast from negativity. It's not about ignoring the world's problems, but about stopping passive, recreational consumption of them. Drastically limit your exposure to news, especially sensationalist news. Stop participating in complaining. Complaining is a powerful affirmation of powerlessness. When you feel the urge to complain, pause and consciously choose either silence or reframing the situation to find a lesson. Be selective with your social circle. Spend less time with chronically negative people. Their vibrational state is contagious. Seek the company of people who uplift and inspire you, who embody the joy you want to cultivate. Command 3, the gratitude anchor. As we've explored, gratitude is the quickest shortcut to the feeling of happiness. It's chemically impossible to feel gratitude and fear or anger at the same time. Gratitude is the emotional signature of abundance and well-being. An anchor is a tool from neurolinguistic programming that allows you to access a desired state instantly. The technique is to create a physical stimulus, an anchor, and repeatedly associate it with the emotional state of gratitude. For example, you can choose the gesture of bringing your thumb and index finger together on your right hand. Every time you feel a wave of genuine gratitude, perform that gesture. With repetition, your nervous system will create a direct connection between the gesture and the feeling. Eventually, the anchor will work in reverse. In a moment of stress, simply performing the gesture will instantly activate the state of gratitude and change your biochemistry. Practice your happiness training program. Exercise 1, the Morning Decree and Gratitude Journal. This is your ritual for starting and ending the day, the foundation of your new habit. In the morning, 2 minutes. Upon waking, perform your morning decree. Say it with conviction. Then think of 3 specific things you are grateful for in that moment. At night, 5 minutes. Before sleeping, in your journal, write 3 good things that happened that day. For each one, write why you are grateful. This trains your brain to end the day focused on the positive. Exercise 2, the 7-Day Negativity Fast Challenge. This is an intensive challenge to detox your mind. For the next 7 days, commit to a policy of 0 complaints. Not out loud, not in your inner dialogue. Every time you catch yourself about to complain, stop, breathe, and consciously choose either silence or to reframe the situation by finding something to be grateful for. Wear a bracelet on one wrist. Every time you complain, switch it to the other wrist. The goal is to keep the bracelet on the same wrist for the entire day. This challenge will reveal how often you operate from negativity and will force you to build a new habit quickly. Ejercicio 3. The creation of your joy anchor. Let's create your personal anchor. Step A, evocation. Close your eyes. Remember a moment in your life when you felt pure, immense joy. Immerse yourself in that memory with all your senses. Step B, anchoring. At the moment you feel the emotion of joy reach its peak, perform your physical anchor. Bring your thumb and index finger together firmly for about 10 seconds while you bask in that feeling. Step C, break and repeat. Open your eyes, think of something else for a moment, break the state, and then repeat the process several times. Step D, test. Later, in a neutral state, simply perform the physical gesture and observe if a subtle sense of joy or calm emerges. You have created your own instant access button to happiness. Happiness is not a destination reached after a long and hard struggle. It is the path itself, when walked with awareness. It's not something the world gives or takes away from you. It's a command that you, as the sovereign captain of your mind, choose to give to your faithful and obedient servant. You are the only one who has the power to choose the soundtrack of your own existence. By cultivating happiness as your base state, you not only transform your present experience, you also open a direct channel to a higher intelligence that operates from that same frequency of joy and expansion. In the next chapter, we will explore how to connect with this infinite wisdom to receive guidance, inspiration, and creative solutions. Chapter 8. The connection to infinite wisdom, your mind as an oracle. Infinite wisdom is the underlying intelligence of the universe. It's the universal mind, the field of consciousness from which all things emerge. This intelligence is not separate from you. In fact, your subconscious mind is an individualized expression of it. Let's use an analogy. Your conscious mind is a computer, powerful but limited. Your subconscious mind, however, is like its network card. Its function is not just to process local data, but to connect to the infinite network of the internet, which is infinite wisdom. Most of us live with our connection turned off. We operate only with the limited data of our personal experience. We struggle to find solutions using only the logic of our conscious processor, unaware that we have access to an infinite database containing the answer to any question. Activating this connection is like going from a simple personal computer to a terminal with access to the supercomputer of the cosmos. It's using your subconscious to receive new, creative, and unexpected information. It is turning your mind into an oracle. This communication doesn't arrive as a logical treatise. It comes through the native language of the subconscious. It manifests as intuition, that silent certainty. It manifests as inspiration, that creative solution that arrives out of nowhere. And it manifests in your dreams, which often contain symbolic answers to questions your conscious mind couldn't solve. Your subconscious is the translator. It takes abstract infinite wisdom and translates it into a language your conscious mind can grasp. But to receive an answer, you must first learn the art of asking the question, the art of asking the oracle. You cannot access this wisdom from a state of anxiety. You must approach your subconscious mind not as a demanding boss, but as a trusting partner. The process has 3 steps. Step 1, clear definition. The subconscious is a brilliant problem solver, but a poor mind reader. Your conscious mind must do its job first. Define the problem or question with the greatest clarity possible. This process of focusing your conscious mind loads the subconscious with all the relevant information. Step 2, the command of faith. Once your question is clear, the next step is to formally hand it over to your deep mind from a state of faith and confidence. A weak request like, "Please help me," is an order of powerlessness. A command of faith is a declaration of trust. Just before sleep, in that receptive state, formulate your request. For example, "Infinite intelligence of my subconscious, I hand over this challenge." Briefly describe the problem. You already know the perfect solution. I command you to find that solution and reveal it to me clearly. Thank you for the answer I know I will receive. Step 3. Absolute surrender. This is the most crucial and difficult step. Once you have made the request, you must completely let go. Worrying or obsessing after you've handed it over is like planting a seed and digging it up every 5 minutes. You interrupt the process. Faith is trusting that your silent partner is working on it even if you see nothing on the surface. The art of receiving the answer. The answer rarely arrives like a bolt of lightning. It often comes in subtle ways. Your job is to learn to recognize it. The morning idea. The solution will often appear as a clear, serene thought upon waking. It's your subconscious delivering its nightly report. Synchronicity. The answer may come through a coincidence in the external world. You overhear a conversation with the solution. You open a book to the exact sentence you needed. The intuitive impulse. Suddenly, you feel a strong, inexplicable urge to call someone or go somewhere. This is your subconscious guiding you to the answer. The key is to maintain a state of relaxed alertness. Don't anxiously search for the answer. Simply remain open and curious, trusting it will arrive at the perfect time. Practice opening your intuitive channel. Exercise 1. The Nightly Question Ritual. This is a direct application of the art of asking. Step A. Define. Before bed, write about a problem in your journal for 10 minutes to achieve maximum clarity. Step B. Command. Just before sleeping, read your question one last time. Then, perform the command of faith, formally handing the problem over to your subconscious. Step C. Let go. Release the problem completely. Use your subconscious lullaby on a different topic to occupy your mind and fall asleep peacefully. Step D. Capture. Keep your journal handy. Upon waking, before doing anything else, write down any ideas, dreams, or feelings present. This is often your subconscious's response to your request from the night before. Exercise 2. The Intuition Journal. Trust in your intuition is built with evidence. Dedicate a section of your journal to being an impulse hunter. Create 3 columns: the intuition, my action, and the outcome. In the first, note any gut feeling or illogical impulse you have during the day. In the second, note if you followed it. In the third, note what happened. This journal will provide you with an irrefutable database of evidence that your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. Your subconscious is not just a servant obeying your old commands. It is your direct connection to the infinite wisdom of the universe. By learning to ask with faith and listen with relaxed attention, you stop operating only with the limited resources of your intellect and ally yourself with an intelligence that already has all the answers you seek. Chapter 9. Conquering Fear. The Guardian in Your Mind. Fear, in its chronic psychological form, anxiety, worry, phobia, is life's great saboteur. It is the force that prevents us from taking risks, loving fully, speaking our truth, and expressing our true potential. To live under the dominion of fear is to live in a cell whose walls shrink a little more each day. To conquer it, we must first understand its true nature. Fear is not a real entity that exists outside of us. It is not a quality of the world. Fear is a mental movie. It is a product of your own imagination, a destructive use of your incredible creative power. It is the act of writing, directing, and starring in a film about a catastrophic future. You project this film on the screen of your mind over and over, with such emotional intensity that your body and your subconscious accept it as an imminent reality. Your obedient mind does not judge the script you give it. If you repeatedly hand it a script of failure or rejection, your subconscious accepts it as an order. It says, "Understood. The captain wants to experience failure," and it begins to mobilize all your resources to make it so. It produces the chemistry of stress and anxiety in your body, clouds your judgment, and leads you to act in a way that often creates the very result you feared. You become the prophet of your own destruction. You cannot overcome fear by fighting it. Fighting fear is like trying to put out a shadow by shouting at it. You only make it bigger and more real. The only way to dissolve a shadow is by turning on a light. The only way to overcome a thought of fear is by using the law of substitution. You cannot, by an act of pure will, simply stop thinking about something. But you can consciously choose to think about something else. You cannot have 2 opposing thoughts occupying the focus of your attention at the same time. The secret is not to fight the horror movie being projected, but to deliberately turn it off and project a different movie in its place, a movie of faith, trust, and triumph. The triumph film technique. This technique is the direct antidote to any fear that is limiting you. It is the art of using the same power of imagination that creates fear to dissolve it. Step 1. Identify and name your fear. Fear thrives in vagueness. The first step is to bring it out of the shadows and look it in the face. Be specific. Don't say, "I'm afraid of failure." What failure exactly? Be concrete. "I'm afraid that if I give the presentation at work, I will go blank, make a fool of myself, and my colleagues will lose respect for me." Naming the fear precisely removes its mythical power and turns it into a manageable problem. Step 2. Build the opposite scene, the happy ending. Now you will become the director of a new movie. What is the direct and triumphant opposite of your fear scenario? It's crucial that you don't just imagine surviving the situation. You must imagine a glorious triumph. If you're afraid of public speaking, the happy ending isn't getting through the presentation without fainting. The happy ending is the moment after the presentation. Imagine the sound of enthusiastic applause. Imagine people on their feet. Imagine your boss coming up to you, shaking your hand and saying, "That was the best presentation I've seen in years." If you're afraid of a job interview, the happy ending isn't answering the questions well. It's receiving the phone call days later and hearing the HR director say, "We are delighted to offer you the position. When can you start?" If you're afraid of illness, the happy ending is visualizing yourself performing a physical activity with energy and joy, feeling strong and vital, and giving thanks for your perfectly healthy body. The scene should be short, imply the fulfillment of your desire, and above all, generate an intense emotion of relief, joy, and triumph. Step 3. Project it with persistence and emotion. This is the reprogramming phase. Every time the thought of fear appears in your mind, don't fight it. Thank it for trying to protect you and then use it as a reminder, like an alarm that says, "It's time to project my movie." Close your eyes even for 20 seconds and play your triumph film. Immerse yourself in it. Feel it. Generate the emotion of victory as if it were already real. The most powerful practice is to perform this projection in your drowsy state every night before you sleep. Fall asleep feeling the emotion of success. Over time, the constant repetition and emotional charge of your new movie will overwrite the old fear program in your subconscious. You are giving a new order, and your obedient mind must eventually execute it. Practice, the architect of your emotional world. Exercise 1. The Fear Inventory and Triumph Script. This exercise is for moving from awareness to creation. Step A, the inventory. Take your journal. List your 1 to 3 most recurrent fears, the ones you feel limit you the most. For each one, name it with as much specificity as possible. Step B, the script. Now for each of those fears, write the script for its triumph film. Describe the happy ending scene. Detail the sensory elements, what you see, what you hear, what you feel in your body. And most importantly, define the central emotion you want to feel: relief, pride, gratitude, peace. Having this script written down will serve as a guide for your visualizations. Exercise 2, the exorcism of a fear. Choose one fear from your list to work on intensively for the next 21 days. The commitment. Commit that for 21 days, every time that specific fear thought appears, you will use the law of substitution. You will not allow yourself to follow the thread of fear. You will use it as a trigger to project your triumph film. The nightly practice. Every night, without exception, for those 21 days, your last task before sleeping will be to relax and project your triumph film in a loop, feeling the emotion of victory until you fall asleep. This intensive training is designed to create a new neural pathway so strong that the old root of fear begins to atrophy from lack of use. Your external world, your relationships, your fears, and your hopes are a direct reflection of the conversation you have with your subconscious mind. When you stop blaming the mirror and start working on the face reflected in it, the world has no choice but to give you back a new image. Harmony is not something you find in others. It is something you cultivate in yourself and then radiate to the world. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the conscious and disciplined choice to feed a thought of faith that is bigger than the fear. You have received the keys to the kingdom. You have learned the laws and techniques to unlock the power of your inner giant, to shape your prosperity, your health, your relationships, and your courage. Chapter 10. The Harmonious Mind, when the captain and the crew are one. What remains when the struggle ceases? What state emerges when the civil war within you comes to an end? Peace, power, harmony. We arrive at the culmination of our journey, the final state of mastery. The state where your conscious mind and your subconscious mind stop being two conflicting forces and become a unified team, a single mind working in perfect synergy. It is the moment when the captain and the crew become one. In this state of a harmonious mind, self-sabotage vanishes. Procrastination dissolves. The constant struggle against yourself, that exhausting battle that consumed most of your vital energy, simply ends. And all that energy that was once wasted on internal conflict is now freed for a single purpose, the conscious creation of your life. Living from a harmonious mind has several unmistakable qualities. The first is effortless action. Things that once required immense willpower, you now do naturally. Your conscious desires and subconscious programming are so aligned, there's no friction. The right path feels like the easiest path. The second is clear and constant intuition. Your connection to infinite wisdom is no longer sporadic. It becomes an open channel. You receive guidance, inspiration, and creative solutions continuously, and you act on them with serene confidence, without the interference of the old inner critic. The third is emotional sovereignty. You are no longer a victim of your moods. You can experience the full spectrum of human emotions, joy, sadness, anger, but you no longer identify with them. You are the conscious space that observes them pass, the sky that remains impassive to the clouds. No emotion has the power to hijack you or throw you off course. And the fourth quality is accelerated manifestation. With no conflicting orders, with no war between what you ask for and what you believe, the signal you emit to the universe has absolute clarity and power. As a result, the time between sowing an idea and its harvest in the external world is drastically shortened. Your creative power is magnified exponentially. In this new paradigm, the relationship between your two minds is redefined. Your conscious mind, the captain, stops being an anxious, controlling micromanager. It has learned to trust its crew. Its main job is no longer to row with effort, but to hold the vision. It becomes the lighthouse keeper, keeping the light of the final destination clear and bright. It formulates the intention, chooses the destination, and trusts. Your subconscious mind, the crew, has received a new and empowering battle plan. It no longer follows the old, obsolete maps of childhood. With a clear leader and an inspiring vision, it works tirelessly, with immense creativity and power, to navigate the ship through the ocean of life, overcoming obstacles and using favorable currents to reach the destination set by the captain. The captain inspires the crew with his vision. The crew empowers the captain with its impeccable execution. It is a feedback loop of trust and power. It is the unified mind. It is the obedient mind, not in the sense of a slave, but in the sense of a perfect partner who obeys a wise and benevolent leader. You in your highest state of consciousness. Practice, the daily ritual of harmony. Achieving this state is the goal. Maintaining it is the art. Mastery is not a destination, it is a daily practice of alignment. Exercise 1, the morning tune-up. Every morning before the outside world presents its agenda, your first task is the captain's meeting with his crew. Dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to this ritual of alignment. Step A, gratitude. Begin by tuning into the frequency of abundance. Feel genuine gratitude for 3 things in your life. This calibrates your emotional state. Step B, the day's order. Choose and declare your main intention for the day. It's not a to-do list. It's the theme of the day. It can be an affirmation like, "Today, I operate from calm and confidence." This is the captain's order. Step C, the visualization. Dedicate a few minutes to projecting your mental movie of the day completed successfully. Don't visualize every detail. Feel the dominant emotion you want to experience at the end of the day: satisfaction, peace, pride. This is the delivery of the blueprint to the engine room. Exercise 2, the conscious check-in. Throughout the day, take brief pauses to go down to the engine room. Set a silent alarm for 3 times a day. When it goes off, pause. Close your eyes. Breathe. And ask yourself, how are we doing, team? Are we aligned with the morning's order, or have we fallen into an old program of stress or doubt? If you detect a misalignment, don't judge yourself. Simply use that moment to breathe and reconnect with your morning intention. It's a simple act of course correction. Exercise 3, the nightly report. Before sleeping, hold one last meeting with your mind. Step A, acknowledgement. Review your day not with judgment but with gratitude. Be grateful for the successes and also for the challenges, for the lessons they offered. Step B, release. Consciously release any conflict or worry from the day. Imagine you are putting them in a box and handing it to your subconscious, along with the command to find solutions while you sleep. Step C, the final programming. Perform your nightly ritual of the lullaby or mental cinema to sow the seed of your deepest desires, preparing the ground for the next day. The harmonious mind is the greatest treasure a human can cultivate. It is the end of self-sabotage and the beginning of conscious creation. It is the state in which life stops being a struggle and becomes a work of art, a symphony conducted by the master hand of your own unified consciousness. You have received the keys to the kingdom. You have learned the laws and techniques to apply them. You have discovered that the giant within you is not a monster to be feared, but a servant to be guided. For a long time, perhaps, this orchestra has played without a conductor. The violins of fear played an anxious melody, the drums of anger marked a rhythm of conflict, and the flute of joy was barely heard amidst the chaos of dissonance. It was a cacophony. Throughout this journey, you haven't learned to kick the noisy musicians off the stage. You've learned to do something much more powerful. You have learned to step onto the podium, take up the baton, and become the conductor. You have learned that every musician, even the most challenging one, has a place in the symphony. You've learned to give fear a new score of confidence, resentment, one of forgiveness, and scarcity, one of abundance. The goal of mental mastery isn't the silence of an empty theater. It's the glorious harmony of a well-conducted orchestra. It's the art of taking all the notes of your being, the high and the low, the loud and the soft, and uniting them in the magnificent symphony of the life you choose to live. You are the conductor. The score is your conscious choice, and the music that emanates from you is the reality you experience. This journey doesn't end here. The orchestra is in tune. The musicians look at you, attentive. They await your signal. Raise the baton. The concert of your new life begins now. If this message has resonated with you, we invite you to join our community. Subscribe to Path of Knowledge so you don't miss any of our videos. Like this audiobook if it resonated. Share with someone you think it might help. Thank you for your time and for your decision to become the conductor of your life.